Hello, I'm James Harvey, the professor of music theory at the College of Southern Nevada with 5-Minute Music Theory. Let's start the timer, and this one's not going to be very long. It is about a melodic part writing rule, which is very easy to avoid, but is also very easy to accidentally miss because it's really easy to accidentally have this happen when you're writing, especially in a minor key. Now, the basic rule is when writing melodically, avoid all augmented intervals. So augmented intervals are no-nos. They're not allowed in a melodic setting. So here's an example of an augmented interval melodically. So we have E, F, G sharp, and A. The augmented second is happening here from the F to the G sharp, and that would be considered a bad thing because augmented intervals, they detract from the tonal center a little bit too much. Now, when you're writing in a major key, you don't have to worry about it very much, but when you're writing in a minor key, you definitely have to worry about it, especially when working with harmonic minor. So augmented intervals are never allowed melodically. What about diminished intervals? So let me clear this and let's try writing a diminished interval, because you can actually write a diminished interval and get it to work. So here's an example of a diminished interval. I'm going to do an F sharp up to a C like that. So from F sharp to C is a tritone, but more specifically it's a diminished fifth. Let's go ahead and label that here, diminished fifth. Move this so we could see it a little bit better. That diminished fifth from the F sharp to the C is not necessarily an error. It's just that when we write a diminished interval, we have to make sure that we leave that diminished interval appropriately. So if you ever write any sort of diminished interval, you have to leave that interval the direction opposite of the leap. So I'm going to write a B here. And it has to be by step as well. So let me clarify that a little bit. We have a leap from the F sharp up to the C, which is that diminished fifth. Since the leap was up, we need to, after that leap, go down by step. So I have to go down to a B, and it sort of lessens the impact of that diminished interval. Like that. You might actually have heard that specifically in some tunes. And that has to do with any diminished interval. When you write it that way, you have to make sure that you leave it opposite the direction of the leap by step. That's a little bit of a mouthful and tough to remember sometimes, but it is an important rule, and then I can save you even a little bit more time. And instead of worrying about this rule, just never write diminished intervals melodically, and then you never have to worry about it. Thanks.